Ashamed. Ashamed means feeling upset and embarrassed because of a bad action.
He was ashamed when he forgot his teacher's name.
Modest. If people are modest, they do not think that they are too important.
Derek is very modest for someone who is so rich.
Prospect. A prospect is a possibility that something will happen.
He wakes up every morning with the prospect of having a good day.
Blonde. A blonde is a person with light-colored hair.
My cousin is a blonde with blue eyes.
Fracture. A fracture is a crack or break in something.
Don't stand on that leg because there is a fracture. It might get worse.
Closet. A closet is a small room used to store things.
Marie has many clothes inside of her closet.
Steep. A steep surface or place has a slope or angle that rises or falls sharply.
He rode his bike up the steep hill to reach the top.
Absence. Absence is the state of something being away.
There is an absence of sand in the hourglass.
Paste. A paste is a thick and smooth substance.
My son needed some paste for a school project.
Urgent. An urgent thing is important and needs to be done now.
He had to leave at that moment. It was urgent.
Volume. The volume is the total amount of something.
The volume of cars in the parking lot was steadily increasing.
Acknowledge. To acknowledge something is to accept that it is true or that it exists.
The teacher acknowledged that the young student was hungry.
Revenge. Revenge is the act of hurting someone who has hurt you.
He broke his sister's doll as revenge after she lost his favorite book.
Chef. A chef is a person who cooks in a restaurant.
Tom is a chef at the restaurant near my house.
Archaeology. Archaeology is the study of the remains left by ancient societies.
He enjoyed visiting the Great Pyramids of Egypt because he loves archaeology.
Necklace. A necklace is a piece of jewelry that people wear around their necks.
Joyce received a lovely pearl necklace for her wedding anniversary.
Confess. To confess is to admit a bad or embarrassing truth.
The woman confessed that she had stolen the money.
Compliment. To compliment is to say a nice thing about someone or something.
Her coworker complimented her for doing a good job.
Nuclear. A nuclear thing relates to the division or joining of atoms.
Nuclear power plants provide inexpensive energy to cities.
Shove. To shove something is to push it with a lot of power.
She shoved him out of the way.
Arctic. Arctic shows that something is of or from the cold, far north part of the earth.
It is cold when the Arctic winds blow.
Gap. A gap is a space between two things.
There is a small gap between the blocks of wood.
Crush. To crush something is to press it together so its shape is destroyed.
Selena's new car was crushed when the tree fell on top of it.
Collapse. To collapse is to fall down suddenly.
The tree collapsed right in front of our house.
Aptitude. Aptitude is a natural ability or skill.
He has a natural aptitude for water skiing.
Fake. A fake thing is made to look real in order to trick people.
The model was wearing fake hair.
Bloom. To bloom is to produce an open flower.
The white daisies were about to bloom.
Theater. A theater is a place where people can watch movies or live shows.
He took her to see a comedy show at the theater.
Apprentice. An apprentice is a person who learns how to do a job from a skilled person.
Mark is an apprentice chef at the restaurant.
Necessity. A necessity is something that is needed.
Fresh water is a necessity for life.
March. To march means to walk at a steady pace together with others.
The soldiers marched in straight rows.
Navigate. To navigate something is to control the way it moves or goes.
She navigated the ship across the ocean.
Iron. Iron is a strong metal that is used to make many objects.
The horse had shoes made of iron.
Terrified. A terrified person or animal is extremely scared.
When I saw the ghost, I was absolutely terrified.
Expertise. Expertise is the knowledge and skills to do something well.
John has a lot of advertising expertise. He can sell anything.
Journalism. Journalism is the work of collecting the news to put in newspapers or on TV.
Before becoming a teacher, she worked in journalism.
Remainder. The remainder of something is what is left.
He took a bite of the apple and then gave me the remainder of it.
Chemist. A chemist is a scientist who works with chemicals.
My mother is a successful chemist who helps invent new products.
Rag. A rag is a small towel.
Please use a rag to clean the dust off the table.
Cigarette. A cigarette is a thinly wrapped paper tube filled with tobacco that is smoked.
Cigarette smoking is terrible for your health.
Massive. A massive thing is very big.
The wheels on his truck were massive.
Plot. To plot is to make a secret plan to do something that is wrong or mean.
The group was plotting to ruin the company's financial reports.
Horrible. A horrible thing is very bad.
The assignment was horrible. I hated it.
Suicide. Suicide is the act of killing oneself.
Some people feel so sad that they think suicide is the only answer.
Stairs. Stairs are a set of steps built to go from one level of a building to another.
He took the stairs instead of the elevator.
Curve. To curve is to move in a line that bends and does not go straight.
The road curves to the left and to the right.
Riddle. A riddle is a question that is difficult to answer, but meant to be funny.
I could not answer Wendy's riddle, but it made me laugh.
Hobby. A hobby is a fun and creative activity people do in their free time.
She liked to paint as a hobby.
Trait. A trait is part of someone's personality.
One trait of Salvador's personality is his cheerfulness.
Outcome. An outcome is the end result of an action or event.
The outcome of his latest business plan was a complete failure.
Might. Might means strength or power.
Try with all your might to lift the heavy tire.
Derive. To derive means to come or originate from a thing or place.
Red's nickname was derived from the color of her hair.
Harbor. A harbor is an area of water along a shore where boats land.
There were a few small boats in the harbor.
Fate. Fate is a power that causes things to happen.
Some people believe that the lines on a person's hand can tell his or her fate.
Polar. Polar relates to the cold places on Earth's north and south ends.
Only a few people live in the Earth's northern polar region.
Supper. Supper is a meal that is eaten in the evening.
We usually have supper around 6 o'clock at my house.
Splash. To splash is to crash into something so that liquid spreads out.
Some green paint splashed upon the floor.
Shepherd. A shepherd is a person who protects and cares for sheep.
The shepherd moved the sheep to another field.
Lava. Lava is the hot substance made of melted rock that comes out of volcanoes.
The red-hot lava poured from the volcano.
Adolescent. An adolescent is a young person or a teenager.
The adolescent was excited about getting a skateboard for his birthday.
Congress. Congress is a group of leaders in a government.
Congress makes laws for people to follow.
Neglect. To neglect someone or something is to not take care of it properly.
William neglected his room, so it is a complete mess.
July. The 7th month of the year is July.
Her birthday is in July.
Boast. To boast is to talk about how great one is.
We all became tired of listening to him boast about himself all day.
Opponent. An opponent is a person or group trying to defeat another person or group.
On the field, our opponents were too good for us.
Torture. Torture is action that causes physical or mental pain.
Greg thought that writing the essay was torture.
Beam. A beam is a heavy bar.
Modern skyscrapers are made with many beams.
Circus. A circus is a traveling show with animals and people.
I like to go to the circus to see the animals do tricks.
Optimism. Optimism is the state of being hopeful about the future.
The mother had optimism about her children's futures.
Jealous. A jealous person might take something from you.
Miriam was jealous because Sue was paying too much attention to Jim.
Tremendous. A tremendous thing is very large or very good.
The Earth's oceans are filled with a tremendous amount of water.
Newcomer. A newcomer is a person who has recently arrived at a place or a group.
The students happily welcomed the newcomer to the school.
Cope. To cope with a difficult or stressful situation means to deal with it.
He copes with work stress by exercising 3 or 4 times a week.
Navy. A navy is the part of a country's military that fights at sea.
My country is known for our strong navy.
Province. A province is an area that is controlled by a country.
Canada is divided into several different provinces.
Diligent. A diligent person works hard and is careful.
Craig has always been a very diligent person at work.
Lieutenant. A lieutenant is a rank in the military or police, or a person with that rank.
The lieutenant was a good leader, and his soldiers respected him.
Awkward. An awkward thing is embarrassing and uncomfortable.
After dropping his coffee cup, Robbie felt awkward.
Anticipate. To anticipate something is to think that it will happen.
Carrie anticipated the arrival of her baby.
Fasten. To fasten something is to close it or attach it to something.
Elizabeth fastened her seatbelt.
Stack. A stack is a pile of different things.
There was a stack of paperwork on his desk to complete.
Bargain. A bargain is a very good price paid for a product.
She was looking forward to getting a good bargain at the supermarket.
Drown. To drown is to die from not being able to breathe underwater.
He would have drowned if the sailors had not rescued him.
Grief. Grief is the feeling of deep sadness, usually when a person dies.
The grief caused by losing her parents was very difficult for her.
Slim. A slim person or thing is thin, not thick.
Look at my new cell phone. It's very slim.
Fierce. A fierce person or animal is angry or violent.
Wolves are fierce animals. Do not disturb them.
Frown. To frown is to make an unhappy look with one's face.
Melissa frowned when she found out that the party had been canceled.
Prosper. To prosper is to be successful or make a lot of money.
Frank's new business finally prospered after many years of hard work.
Ridge. A ridge is a long, narrow piece of raised land.
The brown bear walked along the edge of the mountain ridge.
Preach. To preach is to talk about and promote a religious idea.
Aaron often preached about living an honest life.
Kit. A kit is a set of all the things needed to do something.
Is there a first aid kit in your office?
Invade. To invade is to take over a place by force.
The enemy forces tried to invade our country from the sky.
Withdraw. To withdraw means to leave a place, usually during war.
After losing the battle, the enemy withdrew back to its own country.
Bunch. A bunch is a group of the same things.
She was hungry, so she ate the entire bunch of grapes.
Headache. Headache is a pain in one's head.
My sister gets a headache every time she has a lot of stress.
Inhabit. To inhabit means to live in a certain place.
No one inhabits the ancient city.
Merchant. A merchant is a person who sells things.
The merchant was selling used cars.
Extent. The extent of something is how large, important, or serious it is.
He ate to such an extent that he became overweight.
Steel. Steel is a strong gray metal.
The new apartment building was made with steel.
Ridiculous. A ridiculous thing is silly or strange.
Steve looked ridiculous with those huge blue sunglasses.
Ripe. A ripe fruit or vegetable is ready to be eaten.
The cherries were nice and ripe.
Destruction. To damage something is to cause its destruction.
The wildfires left the forest in a state of destruction.
Commission. To commission someone is to pay that person to do some job.
The artist was commissioned to create a picture.
Humble. People who are humble do not believe that they are better than other people.
Even though Bob is the smartest boy in his class, he is humble.
Underneath. Underneath means below or under.
The roots of a tree are located underneath the ground.
Tragedy. A tragedy is a very sad event.
It was a tragedy when his house was struck by lightning and burned.
Supreme. Supreme means of the highest level or best quality.
The supreme officer was in charge of keeping the citizens calm.
Daytime. Daytime is the time of the day when the sky is light.
The kids are only allowed to play outside in the daytime.
Dispute. A dispute is an argument or disagreement that people have.
Karen and Brian often have disputes about silly things.
Vase. A vase is an attractive container in which people keep flowers.
The vase was filled with such lovely flowers.
Limb. A limb is a large branch on a tree.
The monkey sat on the tree limb and enjoyed a piece of fruit.
Broadcast. A broadcast is a television or radio show.
We watched the broadcast of the local news on TV.
Fancy. A fancy thing is nicer or more detailed than normal.
Their table was all set for a fancy dinner.
Mercy. Mercy is a feeling or act of kindness.
He asked his boss for mercy and to not fire him.
Literary. A literary person or thing is involved with literature in some way.
He worked hard to create a successful literary career.
Senator. A senator is someone who makes laws for a state.
The young senator promised to make laws that would help the people.
Encounter. To encounter is to find or meet a person or thing.
I encountered a sea turtle while I was swimming.
Spoil. To spoil is to rot or to make bad.
We left the fruit out too long, and it spoiled.
Evident. Evident means easy to see or understand.
It was evident from the look on his face that he was unhappy.
Cliff. A cliff is a high and often flat wall of rock.
The wolf stood at the cliff and howled.
Bomb. A bomb is an object that explodes and destroys large areas.
The bomb will destroy anything that is nearby.
Bench. A bench is a long seat for two or more people.
Most parks have benches for people to relax upon.
Maximum. Maximum is the highest amount of anything allowed.
The maximum driving speed here is 80 kilometers per hour.
Shoulder. A shoulder is the body part between the top of the arm and the neck.
He carried his bike on his shoulder.
Exploit. To exploit something is to use it for greedy reasons rather than good reasons.
The company exploits their workers and makes them work 12 hours a day.
Canal. A canal is a path for water to travel through.
The city of Venice, Italy has many canals.
Dose. A dose is a certain amount of medicine taken at one time.
My mother gave me a dose of medicine before I went to bed.
Audience. An audience is a group of people who gather to watch someone do something.
He was excited to be part of the audience.
Sorrow. Sorrow is a very sad feeling.
The girl felt sorrow after her best friend moved away.
Spouse. A spouse is the person to whom someone is married.
I live in a home with my spouse and our 2 children.
Outlaw. An outlaw is a criminal who hides from the police.
The police passed out posters of the outlaw to all the people.
Grasp. To grasp something means to hold it.
He grasped the bag of money tightly.
Bark. To bark is to make a short, loud noise, like a dog.
The dog barked loudly and frighteningly.
Underlying. An underlying thing is a hidden cause or reason.
Her underlying fear of flying reduced her traveling options.
Mow. To mow grass is to cut it to make it short.
I mow our lawn every weekend.
License. A license is an official document that gives one permission to do something.
In the United States, you need a driver's license to drive legally.
Merry. A merry person is happy and pleasant.
They felt merry because the weather was great.
Curse. To curse someone is to hope that bad things happen to that person.
The witch cursed the village.
Male. Male refers to men or boys.
He was the only male in the store.
Retrieve. To retrieve something is to find it and get it back.
She retrieved her mail from the mailbox.
Wander. To wander is to walk without going to a certain place.
The boys liked to wander in the woods and look at birds.
Ladder. A ladder is an object that is used to climb up and down things.
He used a ladder to climb to the top of his treehouse.
Agreement. An agreement is a formal decision about future action.
I think you'll get Tom's agreement to this proposal.
Autumn. Autumn is the season of the year between summer and winter.
I love when the leaves fall in autumn because I can play in them.
Gamble. To gamble means to play a game that involves winning or losing money.
Many people like to go to casinos to gamble.
Axe. An axe is a tool used to cut wood.
She used an axe to cut some wood for the fire.
Airline. An airline is a company that takes people to different places by plane.
The airline has excellent customer service.
Swell. To swell is to become larger and rounder.
My sister's stomach began to swell after she got pregnant.
Carpet. A carpet is a thick, heavy, woven fabric used to cover the floor.
His white living room carpet was soft.
Mist. Mist is water that can be seen in the air or on a surface.
The forest was covered with mist.
Valentine. A valentine is someone loved or admired with great affection.
Harry wanted Molly to be his Valentine.
Offense. An offense is behavior that is wrong or breaks a law.
Stealing a car is a very serious offense.
Coincide. To coincide means to happen at the same time.
My birthday coincides with Christmas.
Attack. To attack something is to hurt or damage it.
She watched the lizard attack its prey.
Liberty. Liberty is freedom to do what one wants.
To many people, the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom.
Bald. A bald person or animal has no hair.
My oldest brother is bald.
Dissolve. To dissolve something is to mix it into a liquid until it disappears.
I dissolved the pill in a glass of water.
Trace. To trace something means to follow over it with the eyes or a finger.
He traced over the graph with his finger.
Toss. To toss something is to throw it softly.
He tossed a coin into the air.
Originate. To originate somewhere is to start there.
The idea of democracy originated in ancient Greece.
Gender. Gender is a category that describes being either a boy or a girl.
Do you know the gender of her new baby?
Fountain. A fountain is a source of water made by people.
There was a beautiful fountain in the middle of the park.
Beneath. Beneath means under or lower than.
The largest part of an iceberg lies beneath the waterline.
Forge. To forge is to make or produce, especially with difficulty.
Stacy and Heather forged their friendship when they were teenagers.
Official. An official thing is approved by someone in authority.
Her official degree was being transferred.
Receipt. A receipt is a paper that proves that something was received or bought.
After looking at my receipt, I realized that I had spent too much money.
Vanish. To vanish is to go away suddenly.
All the passengers vanished from the train station.
Distance. A distance is how far it is between 2 points.
The distance between America and Russia is about 8,000 kilometers.
Hail. Hail is ice that falls from the sky when rain freezes.
The hail from the storm was the size of golf balls.
Corridor. A corridor is a narrow passage that leads into other areas.
He took the corridor on the left to go to his office.
Veterinarian. A veterinarian is a doctor who takes care of animals.
Wanda became a veterinarian because she loves dogs.
Devise. To devise something means to come up with an idea or plan about it.
The thieves devised a plan to steal the diamonds.
Gene. A gene controls what it looks like, how an organism grows, and how it develops.
Gene therapy is sometimes used to treat an illness.
Groom. A groom is a man who is going to be married.
The groom looked happy as he walked with his new wife.
Howl. To howl means to make a long, loud sound, like a wolf or a dog.
The wolf howled at the moon.
Penny. A penny is a coin worth 1 cent.
U.S. President Abraham Lincoln is on the penny.
Empty. An empty container is one that has no things in it.
The teacher showed the students an empty bottle.
Bulletin. A bulletin is a news report about very recent and important events.
There was a live bulletin reporting on the economy of the city.
Kid. To kid is to say something that is not true as a joke.
I am not really mad. I was kidding when I said I was angry.
Furthermore. Furthermore means more information will be added.
She's clever, and furthermore, she is not afraid of work.
Affair. An affair is an event or a thing that happened.
My wife and I attended a formal affair over the weekend.
Leap. To leap means to jump a long distance.
He had to leap over the gap to reach the other side of the hill.
Thread. A thread is a thin piece of string.
I have many different colors of thread at home.
Relief. Relief is a good feeling after something bad or challenging ends.
I felt a sense of relief when I heard the good news.
Nowhere. Nowhere means no place or not existing.
Unfortunately, water was nowhere to be found.
Mayor. The mayor is the person in charge of a city.
The mayor of my hometown is quite a powerful speaker.
Panic. To panic is to feel so nervous or afraid that one cannot think clearly.
Everyone panicked when the house caught on fire.
Daisy. A daisy is a small flower with white petals and a yellow center.
There were a few daisies growing in the field.
Armor. Armor is metal worn by soldiers to protect the body.
The soldier wore armor to protect his body.
Insult. To insult someone is to say things that will hurt the person's feelings.
The girls insulted each other all afternoon.
Portrait. A portrait is a painting or photograph of someone.
I saw many religious portraits when I went to the museum.
Shame. Shame is a bad feeling about things one has done wrong.
The boy felt shame about misplacing his clothes.
Ban. To ban something is to not let people do it.
Smoking is banned in this building.
Cancer. Cancer is a serious disease that causes cells to grow abnormally.
He was a leading scientist in finding a cure for cancer.
Soul. A sole person or thing is the only one.
She was the sole woman in the room.
Peer. To peer at something is to watch it carefully.
She peered at people through the window.
Scold. To scold means to criticize someone angrily for doing something wrong.
Jessie was scolded by the teacher for not paying attention.
Role. A role is a job, position, or part in something.
Her role in the office is to sell products to customers.
Dye. To dye something is to make it a certain color by using a special chemical.
Valerie got her hair dyed at the salon yesterday.
Resign. To resign means to quit a job.
After I officially resigned from work, I said goodbye to my boss.
Spectacle. A spectacle is an amazing sight.
Niagara Falls is quite a spectacle.
Cousin. A cousin is the child of one's aunt and uncle.
My cousin looks just like me.
Loyal. Loyal people always help or support a certain person or thing.
The three friends are very loyal to each other.
Accommodate. To accommodate is to have enough room.
The meeting room can accommodate 9 people.
Conquer. To conquer a place means to attack and take control of it.
The soldiers were trying to conquer the world.
Drag. To drag something means to pull it across the ground.
The dog was dragging his owner down the street.
Caretaker. A caretaker is a person who takes care of very young, old, or sick people.
My grandmother's caretaker helps her get around the house.
Distinct. A distinct thing is different or stands out.
He has a distinct accent.
Stem. The stem of a plant is the stick that grows leaves or flowers.
The rose had a long, thin stem.
Consequent. Consequent means happening because of a different situation.
Her consequent rash came after she touched the poisonous plant.
Persist. To persist means to keep doing something even when it is hard.
Even though the lesson was difficult, he persisted until he understood.
Retreat. To retreat means to run away because of losing a fight.
The army retreated because they were losing the battle.
Presume. To presume is to believe something is true without being certain.
Since the girl raised her hand, the teacher presumed she knew the answer.
Channel. A channel is a long, deep space between two edges.
The river cut a channel through the rocks.
Basket. A basket is a container made of woven materials that is used to carry things.
He put the vegetables in a basket.
Ginger. Ginger is a root of a plant that is used to make food spicy and sweet.
Ginger is a common ingredient in many dishes from India.
Spear. A spear is a long stick with a blade on one end that is used as a weapon.
The soldier was holding a spear in his hand.
Routine. A routine is a way of doing things that is the same every time.
My father's daily routine includes shaving right before breakfast.
Flashlight. A flashlight is a small electric light that people carry in their hands.
We took a flashlight when we went camping.
Germ. A germ is a very small living thing that can make people sick.
Germs are on everything that you touch.
Highlands. Highlands are high areas of land, usually with mountains.
The man had a small home in the highlands.
Profound. Profound means deep or very intelligent.
For a young man, Jeremy has some profound thoughts.
Glory. Glory is the importance, magnificence, or specialness of something.
They enjoyed the glory of the beautiful sunset.
Embrace. To embrace is to hug.
When they saw each other again, the happy couple embraced.
Breast. A breast is one of the two soft parts on a woman's chest.
She was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Ambassador. An ambassador is a government worker who works in another country.
The ambassador from Korea was in charge of the conference.
Nod. To nod is to move your head up and down.
I nodded my head as I listened to the song.
Code. A code is a set of symbols used to hide or read a message.
She used the code to solve the puzzle.
Dawn. Dawn is the time of day when the sun rises.
At dawn, the sun gently rose over the farm.
Poke. To poke something is to push something quickly with your finger or a pointed object.
I poked my finger on a thumbtack.
Overnight. An overnight action happens during the night.
The campers stayed in the tent overnight.
Wrinkle. A wrinkle is a line on a person's face that appears as they get old.
My grandfather has some wrinkles on his face.
Noble. A noble is a rich and powerful person.
The Queen invited a noble from a nearby country to dinner.
Luxury. A luxury is an expensive thing that is nice but not needed.
Our honeymoon resort was a luxury we really enjoyed.
Chamber. A chamber is a closed space or room used for a special purpose.
The meeting was held in the faculty chamber.
Dial. A dial is a circular tool, like the front of a clock.
I looked at the dial to see what time it was.
Prejudice. A prejudice is an unfair opinion about people based on the group they belong to.
The company's rules against gender prejudice must be enforced.
Surface. The surface is the top layer of something.
She wiped the surface of the table.
Elegant. Something elegant is very fancy and pleasing.
In Japan, women wear elegant kimonos on special occasions.
Cub. A cub is a baby animal, such as a bear or lion.
The lion cub was crying for its mother.
Drawer. A drawer is a small part in furniture that is used to store things.
I put my clothes into the empty drawers.
Chin. A chin is the hard part at the bottom of a person's face.
Luke pointed to the hair on his chin.
Repay. To repay is to pay back or to reward someone or something.
She repaid her friend for all of his hard work with a small gift.
Revolution. A revolution is a change to the political system by a group of people.
The revolution in Russia led to the creation of the Soviet Union.
Privacy. Privacy is the state of being happily away from other people.
Please hang the sign on the door so we can have some privacy.
Complaint. A complaint is an expression of unhappiness about something.
Mom said she didn't want to hear my brother's complaints.
Inquire. To inquire about something is to ask about it.
Dad called to inquire about the price of tickets for the show.
Heritage. Heritage is the collection of features of a society, such as language and religion.
Teepees are part of the heritage of the Native Americans of the Plains.
Circulate. To circulate is to spread something around, especially in a circular way.
The fan helped to circulate cool air through the room.
Senses. The senses are how living things experience the world: sight, taste, smell, hearing, and touch.
It would be hard to live without your 5 senses.
Envy. To envy someone is to wish that you had something that other person has.
Sally envied the happy couple.
Fuse. A fuse is a string on fireworks that burns to make them explode.
The boy lit the fuse on the rocket and waited for it to burst in the sky.
Stripe. A stripe is a thick line.
The flag of the United States has red and white stripes.
Gather. To gather is to form a group or bring together.
We will gather the children before the meeting.
Female. Female refers to women or girls.
She is the only female student in her class with short hair.
Suck. To suck is to put something in your mouth and try to get something out of it.
The baby sucked milk from her bottle.
Miserable. A miserable person is very unhappy.
He was miserable after his dog died.
Cure. A cure is a medical treatment to make a sickness go away.
Scientists are still working on finding a cure for diabetes.
Stir. To stir something means to mix it using something small, like a spoon.
Mom stirred the batter until it was smooth.
Stubborn. Stubborn people don't change their minds easily.
Both of my parents are stubborn. They never give in to each other.
Priority. A priority is something that is more important than other things.
My priority is to get good grades in school.
Restore. To restore something is to put it back the way it was.
Victor restored the old car.
Rod. A rod is a thin stick made of wood or metal.
I bought a new fishing rod to use while on vacation.
Couch. A couch is a long, soft seat that many people can sit on.
Kim and Martin's new couch was very expensive.
Fraction. A fraction is a small part of something.
Only a fraction of the cake was gone.
Kidnap. To kidnap someone is to take that person illegally.
She was terrified to find out her son had been kidnapped.
Satisfactory. A satisfactory thing is good enough.
Mina often received satisfactory grades since she studied so hard.
Exaggerate. To exaggerate is to say that something is bigger or better than it really is.
Jimmy wasn't exaggerating about the seriousness of his injury.
Illusion. An illusion is something that looks real but doesn't actually exist.
Some pictures create an illusion for the eyes.
Discourage. To discourage is to make someone feel less excited about something.
Mr. Perry discouraged the students from quitting school.
Museum. A museum is a building that displays cultural, social, and scientific objects.
The Louvre is a famous museum in France.
Departure. A departure is the act of leaving a place.
They were excited about their departure to go back home.
Troops. Troops are soldiers that fight in groups in a battle.
The troops were all prepared to go into battle.
Remote. A remote place is distant or far away.
He lived in a remote village in the Himalayas.
Carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are substances in foods like bread that give energy.
Carbohydrates like rice are a good source of energy for active people.
Tempt. To tempt people is to offer them something they want but shouldn't have.
I wasn't hungry, but she tempted me with a piece of my favorite cake.
Royal. Royal means related to a king or queen.
The Duchess was part of the royal family.
Skeleton. A skeleton is all the bones of a body.
There is a skeleton in the science classroom.
Enforce. To enforce means to make a person follow a rule.
Police enforce traffic laws to keep everyone safe.
Meanwhile. An action that happens meanwhile happens at the same time as another action.
He wants to be a doctor in the future, but meanwhile, he works a regular job.
Anniversary. An anniversary is a day that celebrates something from the past.
My parents went out to a restaurant for their wedding anniversary.
Trigger. A trigger is the part of a gun that a person pulls to make it fire.
The man had his finger on the trigger of the gun.
Interior. An interior is the inside of something.
They looked at the interior of the box.
Acquaint. To acquaint is to get to know something or someone.
Nancy acquainted herself with the new computer.
Lion. A lion is a large animal in the cat family.
We went to see the lion at the zoo.
Architecture. Architecture is the design and form of a building.
The Sydney Opera House is a good example of modern architecture.
Infant. An infant is a baby.
The infant cried all night.
Worship. To worship means to like and honor a person, thing, or religious figure.
Many people around the world worship in a church.
Data. Data is a collection of information and facts.
He saved all the data on his computer.
Insight. Insight is a deep and accurate understanding of something.
The physics textbook gave the student a new insight about gravity.
Souvenir. A souvenir is something bought to remember of a place or event.
I bought a Russian doll as a souvenir on my trip to Moscow.
Refer. To refer to something means to mention or call attention to it.
Mr. Sid referred to the time to show Bill that he was late for class.
Shave. To shave means to cut the hairs on one's face with a sharp tool.
My father shaves his face every day because he doesn't want a beard.
Steer. To steer something is to control where it goes.
He steered the go-kart around the track.
Certificate. A certificate is a document that says that something is true or happened.
I was given a certificate for completing the computer course.
Expedition. An expedition is a long trip, usually to a place very far away.
They got into their spaceship to begin their expedition.
Chore. A chore is an unpleasant job that must be done.
It's Nikki's chore to do the dishes every Tuesday and Wednesday night.
Rumor. A rumor is a story that may not be true.
Carla was spreading rumors around the office.
Sympathy. Sympathy is a feeling of sadness for another person who feels bad.
I felt sympathy for my sister, so I got her a balloon to cheer her up.
Pill. A pill is a small object that has medicine inside.
She took a pill for her headache.
Rage. Rage is a very angry feeling.
The chef was filled with rage when his helpers ruined the meal.
Famine. A famine is a long time with little or no food.
The farmers couldn't grow any food in the dry soil, so there was a famine.
Invasion. An invasion is an attack by a group from another country.
In Korea, walls were built around cities to protect them from invasions.
Squeeze. To squeeze something means to press it together and hold it tightly.
When Clara saw her cat, she squeezed it to her face.
Diameter. The diameter of a round thing is the length across its center.
The diameter of the tree was about 60 centimeters.
Ease. Ease is a condition without difficulty or hard work.
The monkey climbed the tree with ease.
Exhausting. An exhausting activity is very tiring.
After an exhausting journey, we finally arrived.
Summit. A summit is the highest part of a hill or mountain.
Snow covered the summit of the mountain even during the summer.
Population. A population is all the people living in an area.
The population of our city is steadily growing.
Bounce. To bounce is to move up and away from a surface after hitting it.
Owen bounced the ball on the ground.
Recommend. To recommend means to give advice based on experience.
His doctor will recommend the best medicine for her cough.
Domestic. Domestic refers to something that happens within a particular country.
The airline has 50 domestic flights daily.
Glance. To glance at something means to look at it quickly.
She glanced behind her to see if he was looking at her.
Barrel. A barrel is a round thing that you can keep liquids in.
There was an empty barrel outside the house.
Blaze. To blaze means to burn brightly or powerfully.
The small fire soon blazed into a large, dangerous one.
Hesitate. To hesitate is to wait for a short time before doing something.
He hesitated for a moment before he decided which one to choose.
Upwards. An upwards action moves vertically towards the direction above.
The kite went upwards further and further.
Yield. To yield something means to give up control of it or to give it away.
He had to yield his turn because he was in checkmate.
Rear. The rear of something is the back part of that thing.
The man loaded the rear of his truck with boxes.
Flour. Flour is a powder made from plants that is used to make foods, like bread.
I wanted to bake a pie, but I needed flour.
Vital. Something vital is necessary for life.
The heart is a vital organ.
Pregnant. A pregnant woman or animal is going to have a baby.
The pregnant woman was shopping for baby clothes.
Suspicious. A suspicious person does not trust others, or is not trusted by others.
Dad was suspicious of the caller on the line.
Submarine. A submarine is a boat that can go underwater for long periods of time.
The submarine dove under the sea so the enemy couldn't see it.
Informal. An informal thing is casual and relaxed, not official.
They had an informal meeting to talk about their experiences.
Via. Via introduces a route or means of travel.
We arrived in the city from the airport via the train.
Shallow. A shallow thing is not deep.
The kids were playing in the shallow water.
Precious. A precious thing is valuable and important.
In a desert, water can be more precious than money.
Devil. The devil is a powerful evil spirit in some religions.
The church promised protection from the devil.
Contrary. A contrary thing is the opposite to another thing.
It isn't warm outside at all. On the contrary, it is quite cold.
Vibrate. To vibrate is to shake very hard.
The machine made his whole body vibrate as he broke up the ground.
Pile. A pile is a large group of things on top of one another.
The pile of cups was beginning to lean.
Gaze. To gaze at something means to look at it for a long time.
We used a telescope to gaze at the stars for over an hour.
Sensation. A sensation is a feeling that people get from their senses.
Mom got a painful sensation in her head from the loud noise.
Starve. To starve is to not get enough food for a long period of time.
During the war, many people starved.
Worm. A worm is a small animal with a long, thin body.
Worms are often used to help catch fish.
Theft. A theft is a criminal act that involves someone stealing something.
The theft of his TV took place when he was at work.
Reproduce. To reproduce is to make something exactly how someone else did it.
The children tried to reproduce their house using toy blocks.
Disgraceful. Disgraceful behavior is behavior that is very bad.
This is a disgraceful waste of money.
Core. A core is the main or central part of something.
Earth has a solid inner core.
Welcome. To welcome is to greet someone or something with pleasure.
She greeted her friends with a warm welcome.
Purse. A purse is a bag in which women keep money, makeup, keys, etc.
My sister likes to buy designer purses.
Offend. To offend is to make someone angry or upset.
They were both offended by what they had said to each other.
Descend. To descend is to go downward.
I descended the stairs to get out of the building.
Straw. A straw is a thin tube that is used to suck liquid into the mouth.
I drank the orange juice through a straw.
Implement. To implement something means to ensure that what has been planned is done.
The school decided to implement a new teaching strategy.
Sleepless. Sleepless describes a time period in which someone does not sleep.
Jill had a sleepless night because she had so much on her mind.
Grateful. A grateful person feels thankful about something.
The girls were grateful for the chance to visit their grandfather.
Cemetery. A cemetery is a place where people are buried when they die.
Some people are scared of cemeteries.
Temperature. A temperature is a measure of how hot or cold something is.
In the winter, the temperature can drop below 0 degrees.
Aside. An action done aside is done toward the side of something or some place.
The man stood aside and opened the door for me.
Lawn. A lawn is an area covered in grass.
My dad keeps the lawn in front of our house very neat.
Brilliant. A brilliant person is very bright or smart.
My younger sister is brilliant for someone her age.
Affection. Affection is a feeling of liking someone or something.
Amanda has a lot of affection for her little sister, Sarah.
Alley. An alley is a narrow road between houses or buildings.
The alley behind my house looks dirty.
Puff. A puff is a little bit of smoke or steam.
A puff of smoke came from the burnt match.
Millionaire. A millionaire is a person who has at least $1 million.
He became a millionaire because he was smart with his money.
Crown. A crown is the hat worn by a king or queen.
The crown is made of gold.
Grocer. A grocer is a person who sells food.
Our grocer, Mr. Smith, is a very kind man.
Carpenter. A carpenter is a person who builds things with wood.
We hired a carpenter to make a cupboard.
Overweight. Overweight people or animals are heavier than is healthy.
Lisa eats too much, so now she is overweight.
Imitate. To imitate someone or something is to act in the exact same way.
He imitated his favorite superhero by putting on a costume.
Port. A port is a place where ships stop to load and unload things.
The ship was being loaded with materials at the port.
Inferior. An inferior thing is not as good as something else.
Cars built 100 years ago are inferior to ones built today.
Afterlife. The afterlife is a life that some people believe begins when a person dies.
I believe that there is an afterlife.
10. Tin is an inexpensive metal.
Soup is a food that is often sold in tin cans.
Triumph. Triumph is the act or feeling of winning.
He raised the award in triumph at the end of his speech.
Erupt. To erupt is to explode or blow apart, especially a volcano.
The volcano erupted for the first time in 10 years.
Pink. Pink is a pale shade of red.
She chose a pink lipstick.
Plane. A plane is a vehicle that has an engine and wings and flies in the air.
They took a plane across the ocean to India.
Sustain. To sustain something is to keep it going.
Wind power is a clean way to sustain a city with energy.
Superstition. A superstition is something magical that people believe is real.
It is a superstition that Friday the 13th is an unlucky day.
Chop. To chop something means to cut it into pieces with a tool.
Mom chopped some vegetables to put into the stew.
Bond. To bond with someone is to become friends with that person.
The women bonded after several hours of conversation.
Rub. To rub something is to push on it and move your hand back and forth.
Mom's feet were sore, so she rubbed them.
Jog. To jog is to run slowly.
He jogs every day so he can be healthier.
Skull. A skull is the hard head bone that protects the brain.
The brain is protected by the skull.
Flame. A flame is part of a fire.
The torch was filled with yellow and orange flames.
Alert. To alert someone is to tell or warn that person about something.
The fire alarm alerted us that there was a problem.
Arise. To arise is to happen.
Difficulties arose with his computer because it was old.
Draft. A draft is a piece of written work that is not in its final form.
He was writing his first draft.
Inherit. To inherit is to receive something that is passed down from a relative.
All the girls in my family inherit red hair from my great-grandmother.
Proficient. Proficient means able to do something well.
Secretaries are proficient at typing quickly.
Slope. A slope is ground that is not flat.
The slope to the top of the mountain was very steep.
Abroad. An action done abroad is done in a different country.
My friend is going on a summer trip abroad.
Brief. A brief action lasts a short time.
The lawyers took a brief break.
Seldom. Seldom shows that an action doesn't happen very often.
It seldom rains in southern Arizona.
Ally. An ally is someone who agrees to help or support another person or group.
I was happy to find many allies who shared my opinion.
Occupy. To occupy a place is to live, work, or be there.
Kevin and Alice occupied the chairs and had a long discussion.
Suburb. A suburb is a small part of a large city.
I grew up in the suburbs, only a few minutes outside of the city.
Ache. To ache is to hurt or cause pain.
Mindy's head ached because she bumped it against the wall.
Explode. To explode is to suddenly move apart in many smaller pieces.
The old TV exploded when I plugged it in.
Startle. To startle means to scare someone suddenly.
The loud crash startled the sleeping woman.
Harvest. A harvest is the act of collecting food from farming.
They had a lot of wheat from the last harvest.
Inhabitant. An inhabitant is a person who lives in a certain place.
The number of inhabitants in the countryside is increasing.
Acre. An acre is a unit for measuring area.
They lived on a 150-acre farm.
Creature. A creature is an animal or person.
Those creatures live in Africa.
Ambitious. An ambitious person wants to be rich or successful.
Kendra had to be ambitious to get into medical school.
Bully. A bully is a person who is mean to others.
The two bullies always picked on the smaller, weaker kids.
Nut. A nut is a hard seed or fruit that comes from some trees and bushes.
To eat a nut, you must first crack its shell.
Wizard. A wizard is a man who can do magic.
The wizard made gold fall from the sky.
Tremble. To tremble is to shake as a result of excitement or cold weather.
Harry was not used to the cold, so he trembled most of the day.
District. A district is a small part of a city, county, state, or country.
I live in a residential district of Seattle, Washington.
Lodge. A lodge is a house in the mountains used by people who hunt or fish.
During our ski trip, we stayed at a lodge.
Shed. A shed is a small building in which people store things like tools.
We have a small shed in the backyard for storage.
Tidy. A tidy place or person is clean and in order.
Leon has always been a very tidy boy.
Refuge. A refuge is a place of safety.
When it started to rain, she found refuge in the house.
Deaf. A deaf person or animal cannot hear.
Susan uses sign language because she is deaf.
Sled. A sled is a small vehicle used on snow.
Marvin likes to ride his sled down the hill in winter.
Assure. To assure people is to tell them something is true to make them less worried.
He assured the boss that the building would be done on time.
Link. A link is a connection to something else.
The two lines in the poem share a common link.
Postpone. To postpone something is to make it happen later than planned.
They postponed the meeting until Elena arrived.
Headline. A headline is the title of a newspaper story.
The headline on the front page was about the economy.
Compensate. To compensate is to pay someone for the time they spent doing something.
Her boss compensated her for the extra work she did last week.
Wire. A wire is a thin string made out of metal.
The wires were connected to towers that brought electricity to the city.
Microscope. A microscope is a device that makes small objects look bigger.
Germs cannot be seen without a microscope.
Chill. A chill is a feeling of cold.
The chill from the cold wind made Bill shiver.
Sheriff. A sheriff is a police officer who is in charge of a large area.
It was the sheriff's job to make the city safe.
Host. A host is someone who invites a guest someplace.
He was a gracious host.
Object. An object is a non-living thing that you can see or touch.
The shopping cart was filled with objects.
Sigh. To sigh is to breathe out loudly to show tiredness, boredom, or sadness.
Molly sighed when she looked at all the information she had to research.
Burst. To burst is to suddenly break open or apart.
The bomb burst over the city.
Casual. A casual thing is relaxed or simple.
You can wear casual clothes, like jeans, to the party.
Desk. A desk is a piece of furniture that people sit at to do work.
She put the books on her desk.
Dynasty. A dynasty is a series of rulers who are all from the same family.
The ancient Egyptians had a dynasty that lasted for many years.
Defeat. To defeat someone is to beat that person in a game or battle.
The champion defeated the challenger in the boxing match.
Execute. To execute means to kill someone as a legal punishment.
Some people are executed for serious crimes.
Thunder. Thunder is the loud noise heard during a storm.
The sound of the thunder startled me.
Publication. A publication is something printed, like a newspaper or book.
She's been a subscriber to that publication for over 10 years.
Fireworks. Fireworks are objects that create colored lights when they are lit.
The display of fireworks was so beautiful.
Spare. To spare something is to give it away because it is not needed.
I wanted to help him, but I couldn't spare a tire.
Bump. A bump is a small raised area on a surface.
The monkey got a bump on his head because he was hit by a rock.
Voyage. A voyage is a long journey made on a boat or an aircraft.
The astronauts took off on a long voyage to the moon.
Boom. To boom means to make a loud, deep sound.
The firecrackers made a loud boom when they exploded.
Dominant. A dominant person or thing is stronger than others.
The gorilla is one of the dominant animals in the jungle.
Desperate. A desperate person will try anything to do or change something.
I'm desperate to find a new job.
Roast. To roast something is to cook it in an oven or over a fire.
Mom roasted a turkey for the holiday dinner.
Coffin. A coffin is a box used to bury dead people.
When people pass away, they are usually buried inside of a coffin.
Devastate. To devastate something is to cause great damage or pain to that thing.
The entire wall was devastated.
Rebel. A rebel is a person who fights the government in order to change it.
The rebel was angry about the government's unfair policies.
Extensive. Extensive means large in size or amount.
The game drew extensive media coverage.
Lightning. Lightning is the bright light seen during a storm.
The lightning flashed above the water.
Impolite. An impolite person is rude or not polite.
Roger is impolite to everyone he meets.
Horror. Horror is a feeling of being very afraid or shocked.
The audience screamed in horror when the ghost appeared in the movie.
Wicked. A wicked person is very bad or evil.
My boss is a very wicked man.
Crawl. To crawl is to move slowly on hands and knees.
The baby crawled across the floor.
Income. An income is the money you earned from work.
She was saving her income to buy a house.
Decent. A decent person or thing is okay or good enough.
Eric did a decent job painting the fence.
Modern. A modern thing belongs to the current time.
The kitchen had a modern look.
Pharmacy. A pharmacy is a place where medicine is sold.
My mother sells medicine to people at the pharmacy.
Ivory. Ivory is a hard white substance that comes from elephants.
The elephant's long ivory tusks looked very impressive.
Caution. Caution is care and attention in order to avoid danger.
Please use the power saw with caution. It is very dangerous.
Vessel. A vessel is a large ship or boat.
We toured the area aboard a luxury vessel.
Raft. A raft is a flat kind of boat.
He sailed across the Pacific Ocean on a raft.
Cancerous. Cancerous cells are the result of cancer.
The exam found cancerous cells in the patient's blood.
Currency. The currency of a country is the type of money used in that country.
The currency in China is different from that in Australia.
Drip. To drip is to fall a little bit at a time.
I heard water dripping from the faucet.
Deter. To deter means to prevent or discourage someone from doing something.
Icy roads deter people from driving their cars.
Thrust. To thrust means to push or move something quickly with a lot of force.
The boxer thrust his fist into the punching bag.
Creep. To creep is to move quietly and slowly.
The cat slowly crept down the tree.
Sneak. To sneak is to move quietly in order not to be seen or heard.
The thief snuck out of the house without anyone noticing him.
Sweat. To sweat means to lose liquid from the body through the skin.
Whenever I go to the gym, I sweat quite a bit.
Venture. To venture is to go to a place that may be dangerous.
Even though it was dangerous, they ventured up the mountain.
Guest. A guest is someone who is invited to an event, occasion, or location.
Alice invited a special guest for dinner.
Mutual. A mutual thing is felt in the same way by two or more people.
Robert likes Sarah and she likes him. The feeling is mutual.
Bleed. To bleed is to lose blood.
If you are not careful, you will cut your finger and bleed.
Wagon. A wagon is a cart used to carry heavy things.
He used his wagon to carry some of his gifts.
Tame. A tame animal is not afraid to be near people.
The tame bird rested in his hand.
Needle. A needle is a small, sharp piece of metal used to make or fix clothes.
I used a needle to fix the hole in my pants.
Quarrel. To quarrel is to argue or fight.
Billy quarreled with his wife about buying a new house.
Pat. To pat something is to hit it softly with your hand.
I patted some lotion onto my face.
Confine. To confine something is to keep it in one place.
The elephant is confined to a cage in the zoo.
Dairy. Dairy shows that something is made from milk.
Things like milk and cheese are dairy foods.
Strain. To strain is to try very hard.
Casey strained to lift the heavy box.
Swift. A swift person or animal is fast.
The swift horse easily jumped over the hurdle.
Ash. Ash is the gray or black powder created when something is burned.
The end of his cigar was full of ashes.
Dismiss. To dismiss something is to say it is not important.
He quickly dismissed my idea about the new project.
Deceive. To deceive is to make someone believe something that is not true.
He tried to deceive his friends with a card trick.
Ray. A ray is a line of light that comes from a bright object.
The sun's warm rays covered the beach.
Justice. Justice is fairness in the way that people are treated.
People turn to the court system when they are seeking justice.
Hinder. To hinder is to stop someone or something from doing something.
All the traffic hindered me from getting to work on time.
Wheat. Wheat is a plant from which we get the grain used to make bread.
The field of golden wheat was ready to be harvested.
Cautious. A cautious person is careful to avoid danger.
Be very cautious as you stack those boxes.
Jet. A jet is a fast plane with a big engine.
Her company owns a private jet.
Rhyme. A rhyme is writing or speech that has words with the same ending sounds.
Humpty Dumpty is an old rhyme that children learn in school.
Tap. To tap something is to hit it lightly.
He tapped the keys of the keyboard to write a short word.
Polish. To polish something is to rub it in order to make it shiny.
Mark spent all morning polishing his shoes for the wedding.
Disgusting. A disgusting thing is very unpleasant.
After running all day, Greg's feet had a disgusting odor.
Institution. An institution is an organization that works to help a city or group of people.
Banks are vital institutions that businesses and people use every day.
Ranch. A ranch is a large farm where animals are kept.
My uncle has many horses on his ranch.
Enthusiastic. An enthusiastic person is excited by or interested in something.
The man was enthusiastic about his job.
Criticism. Criticism is the act of saying that something is not correct or good.
She had a lot of criticism about their new plan.
Scar. A scar is a mark on the skin after a wound heals.
The man had horrible scars on his cheek and forehead.
Knight. A knight is a soldier of high rank and skill who usually serves a king.
He was the best soldier, so the king made him a knight.
Orphan. An orphan is a child who does not have parents.
The orphan frequently cried during the night.
Exceed. To exceed is to be more than something.
Since I exceeded my limit, I decided to get rid of my credit cards.
Refrigerator. A refrigerator is a large electrical machine used to keep food cold.
He kept milk, eggs, and butter in the refrigerator.
Sugar. Sugar comes from plants and is used to make food taste sweet.
She added extra sugar to her tea.
Fade. To fade is to become quieter or less bright.
The piece of cloth I found was old and faded.
Terrific. Something terrific is very good.
My youngest daughter is a terrific painter.
Independence. Independence is the state of being free from the control of others.
After leaving home, Sophia had a great feeling of independence.
Circumstance. A circumstance is an event that makes a situation what it is.
There were many circumstances behind their success, like hard work.
Sew. To sew means to put pieces of cloth together using string or thread.
I learned to sew when I was a little girl.
Pharaoh. A pharaoh was a king in ancient Egypt.
The pharaohs ruled Egypt for thousands of years.
Elbow. The elbow is the middle part of an arm, where it bends.
She pointed to her elbow to show me where she hurt herself.
Rot. To rot is to slowly get softer and become destroyed.
The old log began to rot in the forest.
Hood. A hood is part of a coat that goes over a person's head.
She put on her hood to keep her head warm.
Tolerate. To tolerate something means to be able to accept it, even when it is unpleasant.
When you are in a hurry, it can be hard to tolerate traffic signals.
Acquire. To acquire something is to get or gain possession of that thing.
Tina acquired a strange package yesterday.
Blend. To blend is to mix two or more things together so that they become one thing.
My wife blended together all of the ingredients to make a delicious stew.
Span. To span is to spread across an amount of time or space.
His work at the bakery has spanned 20 years.
Coastline. A coastline is the outline of a country's coast.
He noticed that most of the cities in Australia are on the coastline.
Robe. A robe is a long, loose piece of clothing.
The monks of the temple all wear robes.
Hatred. Hatred is a strong feeling of not liking someone or something.
I have a hatred for the taste of medicine.
Sin. A sin is something that is wrong for religious reasons.
Taking something that doesn't belong to you is a sin.
Overlook. To overlook something is to not notice it, or to not realize that it is important.
Brenda overlooked the last step and had a bad fall.
Wrestle. To wrestle is to try to push another competitor to the floor.
My dad loved to wrestle when he was in high school.
Found. To found something means to start, organize, or establish that thing.
My grandfather founded the city bank.
Unify. To unify means to bring people or things together.
With their good deeds, the children tried to unify the world.
Tender. A tender food is soft and easy to chew.
The meat was so tender they didn't need knives to cut it.
Cottage. A cottage is a small old house in the countryside.
My aunt lives in a pretty cottage in the mountains.
Aboard. Someone aboard a ship or plane is in or on it.
They climbed aboard the kayak and paddled through the river.
Tease. To tease means to laugh at or make fun of someone.
Jake teased Charlie because he was the new student.
Pirate. A pirate is a sailor who steals things from other boats.
Pirates are very scary characters.
Benefactor. A benefactor is a person who gives money to help someone.
The student's benefactor gave him money to spend on his studies.
Endure. To endure means to experience and survive something difficult.
She had to endure her husband shouting all day long.
Emperor. An emperor is the leader of a group of countries.
The Emperor Julius Caesar was in control of ancient Rome.
Satisfaction. Satisfaction is the feeling of having done or received something good.
Brad was filled with satisfaction when he saw what was for dinner.
Marine. Marine describes something related to the sea.
A healthy ocean is full of marine animals.
Bullet. A bullet is a small metal object that is shot out of a gun.
Bullets come in different sizes for different guns.
Jury. A jury is a group of people that listen to a trial and say if someone is guilty.
The jury listened closely to the attorney before they made their decision.
Abandon. To abandon something is to leave it forever or for a long time.
The old room had been abandoned years before.
Disguise. A disguise is something you wear so people cannot tell who you are.
Everyone knew that it was Dad in the Santa disguise.
Alter. To alter something means to change it.
I altered the color of my nails to match my hair.
Rival. A rival is someone trying to achieve the same thing as another.
The three rivals were all competing for the same job.
Chimney. A chimney is a tall pipe used to carry smoke out of a building.
The cat was sitting on the roof next to the chimney.
DNA. DNA is the short form of deoxyribonucleic acid.
The police sometimes use DNA to solve crime.
Result. A result happens because of something else.
The result of her experiment was surprising.
Drift. To drift means to be moved slowly by wind or water.
The large chunk of ice drifted in the water.
Cereal. Cereal is a breakfast food made from grains that is eaten with milk.
Cereal is a fast and common breakfast food enjoyed in the U.S.
Arithmetic. Arithmetic is math.
I like to study arithmetic at school.
Punishment. A punishment is something that one must endure for any wrongdoing.
He was given a punishment for being rude to the teacher.
Kneel. To kneel is to put one or both knees on the ground.
Daryl kneeled down on one knee and asked Nina to marry him.
Frost. Frost is a white layer of ice that forms during very cold weather.
In the morning, the trees were all covered with frost.
Mill. A mill is a building in which wheat is ground into flour.
The farmer took his wheat to the mill to make it into flour.
Pose. To pose is to stay in one place without moving.
The kids and their dog posed for a picture.
Bless. To bless is to ask God for protection or help.
The angel blessed the newborn baby to keep it safe.
Scheme. A scheme is a plan or design.
Jason and Mark came up with a scheme to solve the problem.
Slice. A slice is a piece from something larger, such as a cake.
The girl enjoyed a slice of cake at her birthday party.
Divorce. Divorce is the process of ending a marriage.
Divorce rates have increased in the past 20 years.
Dissatisfied. Dissatisfied means not happy with something.
I was dissatisfied with their decision to work on Sunday.
Trim. To trim something is to cut it a little bit.
I had my hair trimmed this afternoon.
Sore. Sore means feeling or causing pain.
After lifting the heavy box, Mona's back was sore.
Drain. A drain is a pipe that carries away water from a building, such as in a kitchen.
The water in the sink goes down the drain as you wash your hands.
Wipe. To wipe something is to slide a piece of cloth over it to clean it.
She wiped the dust from the windows.
Loose. A loose thing is not held in place tightly.
The bolt was loose, so I tightened it with the wrench.
Stove. A stove is a device used to cook food.
Our new stove helps us to cook food much faster than before.
Coal. Coal is a hard black material that people burn for heat.
Many power stations burn coal to produce energy.
Scent. A scent is a smell.
Julie enjoyed the scent of the flowers.
Merit. A merit is a positive or good quality.
The actor received an award for his merits in the movie.
Bay. A bay is an area near the ocean where the land goes inward.
The Golden Gate Bridge crosses San Francisco Bay.
Engineer. To engineer something is to skillfully plan out how to make that thing.
After engineering the robot, they needed to find the correct parts to build it.
Fabric. Fabric is cloth used to make clothes, furniture, etc.
The towels were made from a soft fabric.
Entire. Entire means the whole thing or group.
The entire table was covered with food.
Pine. A pine is a type of tall, thin tree with needles instead of leaves.
There were many beautiful pine trees in the forest.
Nourish. To nourish is to give someone or something the food needed to live.
A good mother will nourish her baby every day.
Magnificent. Magnificent means beautiful and grand.
The man gave his wife a pair of magnificent diamond earrings.
Bitter. A bitter person feels upset or angry about something.
He was extremely bitter when his computer crashed.
Pardon. To pardon is to not be angry at someone for asking a question or for making a mistake.
Pardon me, teacher, but could you repeat what you just said?
Canoe. A canoe is a long, light boat with pointed ends.
He paddled his canoe to the edge of the lake.
Rotate. To rotate something means to turn it around in a circle.
An airplane's propellers rotate quickly to help it fly.
Bandage. A bandage is a piece of cloth used to stop bleeding.
If you cut yourself, please get a bandage from the first aid kit.
Sensible. A sensible person or thing is good and smart.
It was sensible for her to save some money each month.
Hut. A hut is a house made of wood, grass, or mud that has only 1 or 2 rooms.
We all went into the hut to sleep.
Portray. To portray something means to describe it or show it in a picture.
Her picture portrayed the house she grew up in when she was little.
Cheerful. A cheerful person is happy and pleasant.
The children were cheerful because they didn't have to go to school.
Fiber. A fiber is a thread of a substance used to make clothes or rope.
The mat was made from tiny fibers.
Agency. An agency is a business or service set up to act for others.
I went to a travel agency to help me arrange a flight home.
Sting. To sting is to cause pain by pushing a sharp part into the skin.
The needle stung my arm and made me say, ouch.
Console. To console is to give comfort to a person who feels sad.
When my dog ran away, my dad consoled me.
Nap. A nap is a short sleep, usually during the day.
I took a short nap because I had stayed up late last night.
Horizon. The horizon is where the sky looks like it meets the ground.
The sun dipped below the horizon.
Warrior. A warrior is a brave soldier or fighter.
The samurai were some of the most skilled warriors in the ancient world.
Blacksmith. A blacksmith is a person who makes things out of metal.
The blacksmith pounded the piece of metal until it was flat.
Elite. Elite means of or from a high-level group.
Only an elite group was allowed membership into the club.
Messenger. A messenger is one who carries information from one place to another.
The messenger delivered an important document to the office.
Incident. An incident is an event that is usually not pleasant.
Mr. Wilson had an incident. He became sick and had to leave.
Gallery. A gallery is a large space where people can see works of art.
The art gallery displayed beautiful paintings.
Irritate. To irritate means to annoy someone.
She was irritated when her brother told her that he had lost her camera.
Assembly. An assembly is a group gathered together for the same reason.
The students had an assembly to talk about their interests.
Tide. The tide is the level of the water in the sea.
The tide continued to crawl upon the beach little by little.
Shortly. An action that happens shortly happens very soon.
My workday will end shortly.
Scatter. To scatter something is to make it go in many places.
I accidentally scattered all of my pills.
Blanket. A blanket is a piece of cloth that people use to keep warm or to sit upon.
I laid a blanket on the ground so that we could have a picnic.
Cell. A cell is the smallest part of a living thing that can live by itself.
A red blood cell carries oxygen.
Thrill. A thrill is an exciting feeling.
The surfer enjoys the thrill of surfing a big wave.
Deliberate. A deliberate action is one done on purpose, not by accident.
Bernie made a deliberate attempt to injure Andy.
Seize. To seize something means to grab it quickly or strongly.
The man seized as much money as he could before anyone could see him.
Aloud. An action done aloud is done so that people can hear it.
My father often reads stories aloud to me and my sister.
Upper. An upper position is a higher position.
He took the elevator to the upper floor.